My number one chair for under $500 is the Eurotech Vera, but is it actually worth $500? While a chair sold for $439.99, like the Vera, would typically be considered to be on the cheaper side when looking at the entire category, this is still a lot of money. The Vera isn't going to wow you with its looks, but it isn't an eyesore either. It's a good looking chair with clean lines and nothing gaudy or awkward to make it off putting. It's also a well built chair for the price. The entire chair feels solid and doesn't have any areas where it feels flimsy. It's also backed by a good warranty from Eurotech with a lifetime of coverage on almost the entire chair and then 5 years on the fabric. With that said, this is a sub $500 chair, so I don't want to make it seem like this is an Aeron or a Fern level for under $500. It will have some areas that aren't up to the standard of those higher end chairs. The seat slider doesn't move smoothly, so you usually need to stand to adjust it, and the mesh does have some abrasion, which could be a problem for people that like to wear sweaters. The main reason that I recommend the Vera so often for people looking at a chair in the $500 price range is because of its comfort. It just feels good to sit in. The backrest is surprisingly one of the most comfortable backs I've used. I say surprisingly because there's nothing fancy about it. It doesn't even have any adjustments. It's just the perfect shape to cradle you while supporting your back in the correct posture. The mesh sinks just the right amount while also keeping you away from the hard plastic frame. I'm also a big fan of the seat. Again, this isn't going to be the highest end foam, it just has the right amount of it with good density to make it feel soft while also being supportive. And bottoming out on the Vera is not something we hear about happening and hasn't happened to me in my experience, which can definitely be an issue for chairs in this price range. One area where I do think there is room for improvement is the arms. The caps could be softer, and I'm not a fan of the rounded sides because sometimes my arms slip off them, but they do have four-way adjustment, and they do have some softness instead of just hard plastic. The Vera has a good number of features. It comes standard with seat height adjustment and seat depth adjustment. The seat height range is good for most people, and the seat slider is a real plus that's not going to be found on all chairs in this price range, but it really does help to ensure that the seat fits you properly. You get the four-way adjustable arms we touched on earlier, and while the ranges aren't as large as the high-end chairs, they're still good, and having this much adjustability isn't the norm in this price range. The Vera has a nice recline due to a solid synchro-tilt mechanism, and it comes with multiple locking positions. I'm also a fan of the tension control, which I don't say very often, but the adjustment is easier on the Vera than most chairs, and it actually has a responsive system within a handful of turns. The feature I don't like and would not recommend is the headrest. I would just save the $35 and use the chair without it instead. The Vera does a lot of things right, but it won't be perfect for everyone. It's not great for big and tall people just because the weight limit is 275 pounds, and it doesn't have great dimensions for people taller than about 6'3". The Vera is also not a great choice for people that need a headrest. As we touched on earlier, I wouldn't recommend purchasing it, and the reason is because it's not adjustable at all and sits in a place where you're really forced to use it, and I just don't find it to be very comfortable. And the final reason that might be a potential deal breaker is going to be the mesh that we talked about earlier. If you wear a lot of sweaters or clothing with loose fabric, then you may want to avoid the Vera because it will collect quite a bit of lint. The cost per year on the Vera is going to be another highlight of the chair in my opinion. The chair is well built and has a good warranty. I think it's reasonable to expect it to last about 5 to 10 years before it breaks down or wears out to the point of needing replacement. At $440, you're looking at about $88 a year or $7 a month if it lasts that minimum of 5 years. I do think it's more likely that it lasts closer to that 10-year mark, and if you do get 10 years out of this chair, you're looking at $44 a year and about $3 a month to sit in a Vera. The Vera has been the victim of rapid inflation, just like almost every other office chair. What used to be our most recommended sub $400 chair quickly ballooned in price to almost $600. Even at $600, I still thought the Vera was worth it, often putting it head to head with chairs like the Haworth Soji as two of the best options in that price range. The Vera is in an amazing spot right now at a $400 price due to a recent price reduction we were offered in an effort to sell more chairs. I truly believe that this chair currently provides more value for its price than almost anything available on the market and is without question worth $440.